These are violent criminals, so they're not going to go down easy.
ABC Tuesdays.
Let's get this done.
The Rookie is back.
We have 2 new rookies starting today.
Howdy.
Being a cop is stressful 24/7. Every year on the job is different.
And Training Day
We have a serial killer at large.
never ends.
We need an ambulance!
The Rookie. All new Tuesdays on ABC and stream on Hulu.
Hey guys, welcome to the Birdbrain podcast, where the goal is to rise above it all, stay elevated, create that infinity, and up your you. I'm your host, Isaiah, and today I wanted to talk about housekeeping, how important that is in life, not just in a practical way, but in a very metaphorical way, and how it applies to your life and how it's important to keep a clean space. Stay tuned. And if you haven't, follow us on Instagram at the Birdbrain Podcast, and you can send an email as well. I love hearing from you guys. So at the Birdbrain Podcast at gmail.com. Comment, subscribe, rate, review. Any little bit goes a long way, and I always appreciate hearing you guys' feedback and just something that you got from the show or episode. I love it. So stay tuned. Rise above it all. Stay elevated and create that infinity. Of your you. Of your you. So I just got home and lit a candle, of course, and vacuumed my floor. And I did a lot of like errands today, but like one of the things I love is a clean space. I love a clean space. It gives me clarity. Like I hate seeing things out of order. I'm not like super anal, but like I do like a clean space. For me, it just kind of declutters everything. And so I made it a point to vacuum and light a candle and just chill and make sure I have my space right before I record it. And it really changed my whole vibe, especially with the clocks changing yesterday. Things have been a little bit different already, and it's only an hour difference. So that ties into what I wanted to talk about today on the podcast, housekeeping. And what I mean by housekeeping, emotional housekeeping, mental housekeeping, just an internal house. Your soul is your house. Your inner peace is all a part of your house. It's the furnace. It's everything that kind of keeps you moving and keeps you going. And I was having a conversation with a buddy today, my boy Nick, my homie Nick, and we were just talking about a lot of things. You know, the concept of one, connections made. Are you a connector or are you a collector? You know, whenever you meet someone, what are your intentions going into it? Are you looking to connect with them and, you know, find some kind of common ground or similarities? Or are you just looking to collect something from them? And it can even be like, it doesn't have to be practical, something tangible. It could be an emotional thing. You know, sometimes we seek to collect happiness from others when it's really not their responsibility. Sometimes we seek to collect fulfillment. Different things, you know, so collecting in my head doesn't just mean a physical collection. And, you know, connecting in my head just means that, you know, you're looking to find your equals in life, or finding people that either challenge you or complement your life, not necessarily change it or are responsible for changing it for better or worse. And we got to talking, and we were joking around about, like, you know, I finally made it a point where I said, I'm not, you know, life should be seen as a house. You know, what kind of house do you like to keep? What does your space look like? What is your house in your head, your ideal house look like? Is it clean? Is it a fucking shit show? Is it mess everywhere? Like, is it stuff everywhere? Is everything out of order? Can you look at the floor and just see a clean space? Is it tidy? Like, is it well kept? Your emotional house, your emotional space, all those things are very much important because it will kind of ideally tell you what kind of people you're allowing into your house, what kind of people you're allowing into your life and your space. And when we were talking, we were joking about like, my doors are always open, but if you make a mess, clean up after yourself. I think too often we don't have that where someone is holding themselves accountable for the mess that they made or holding themselves accountable to just clean up after themselves. I don't care what it is, but like any little thing does go a long way. And when we're talking about the emotional space that we hold for other people, it's like sometimes just a simple acknowledgement is enough, to clean up after yourself. And that doesn't even happen. So we were saying is like, look, my door is always open. Come in. Just don't make a mess. If you do, just clean up after yourself because I'm not getting the OxyClean out this time. I'm not cleaning up after you. I think a lot of times we get caught up in this thing where, think about it. When something happens in your life, something big and is dealing with another person, another exchange of energy, emotions, mental space, words, just all components of like human interaction. And if it's not cleaned up, you're left with a lot of baggage and you're left with a big mess. And you invite someone else over to your house, for example, and that mess is still there. You just step over that mess and you have your company step over that mess. And when they see that mess kind of deal, they're like, well, all right, well, you're cool with a mess, obviously. So it's probably cool for me to just leave my mess here. Let me just add to the pile if that's cool with you. Or sometimes you have people who are not really receptive to a mess and will potentially turn the other way. It's like, well, you seem cool, but there's a mess that's not being cleaned up. You're not cleaning up this other stuff and you're expecting me to ignore it and be okay with it like you are. And that's affecting our connection. And yeah, and I think it applies, in your internal space as much as it does your external space, because, I do understand having things out of order. Like I'm looking at my desk right now. I have Post-its, I have notes, like words of affirmations hanging out on my computer. I have my sketch pencils here. I have my SAG card chilling here. I have like little things that I'm like, all right, they're in my way. I just see them, and in a moment I'll get to them, but I do notice them there and I recognize them there and I recognize, all right, these things gotta go. They don't belong here. So I got to find a space for them. And I think the same thing applies with, our own thoughts, our feelings, our emotions. It's important to really find a space for everything and making sure you're cleaning up after yourself. Cleaning up after yourself is vital before you expect someone else to clean up after themselves or to clean up after you. It's that whole phrase, a leaky bag of crap. Sometimes people just walk around with it and it just goes everywhere and they go on about their business because that's what they're used to. That's what they're okay with. I was even talking to my mom about cleanliness. One of the things that I grew up doing and I really do appreciate and I love is when we were growing up, Saturdays when we weren't in the dojo, we would clean. Like Saturdays was the cleaning day and there was music. Everybody had like a task or a chore and, we all did our thing and then we met in the middle and it was dope. Like as a kid, I was like, man, we got to clean up, whatever. But it really kind of translated into life and how I even move. Like I like to keep a clean space, but also I like to make sure that I'm not leaving a mess for someone else to clean up after me. It's not someone else's responsibility to clean up after me. I don't care in what way. I'm responsible for my own mess. And, there are a lot of people who feel kind of entitled or not accountable for the mess that they make. And they expect someone to look over it in the way that they do, or they expect someone to be okay with it. It's not okay. It's not okay. So I've been making it a point to keep my external house clean, my external space as clean as possible, and be very aware. If I'm making a mess, it's my responsibility to clean it up. But I'm not going to constantly clean up after someone else. Like, it's not my job. Is not my responsibility. And when it comes to my emotional space, my mental space, my internal space, my spiritual space, my heart space, I'm just like, look, if there's a mess made and I keep finding myself cleaning it up, both people are responsible, myself and the other person. And it's very important. And I think it becomes very important to look at the people that you're allowing into your space, your home space physically, but also your emotional space. Are they coming to make a mess? And when they make a mess, do they clean up after themselves? Or are you left cleaning up after them constantly? And in both realms, it does weigh on you and it frustrates you, because you start to feel as if, well, me cleaning up is not doing anything if this person keeps coming behind me and making a mess. They keep coming behind me and making a mess, and then I find myself having to constantly clean up after them. So it becomes a perpetual thing. And that leads to frustration, leads to resentment, that leads to a lot of things. And it's important to understand, all right, what kind of house do I want to keep? And if this is the house that I want to keep, who am I kind of allowing to come into this space? Your inner space is vital, just because that's the space, no matter where you are in the outside world, your inner space does not leave you, and you're stuck with that. You go to sleep with it, you wake up with it, you go to work with it, you travel with it, you commute with it. Every part of what you do, your internal space goes with you. So you need to ask yourself, what kind of space are you seeking? What kind of space do you currently have? Are there people in your life that are constantly making a mess and not cleaning up after themselves? Or are there people that come in, either they help you clean up, or you keep it clean, or they clean up after themselves? It's all very important. And it's, the housekeeping kind of thing was such a great metaphor. And when we were talking about it today, we both had a moment of like, holy crap. It's like, yeah, this makes a lot of sense. It's like, yeah, don't, my doors are always open, but don't come in here and making a mess. Don't think you're allowed to make a mess in my space and then leave, especially if you're not going to get on your hands and knees and clean up after yourself. And if you're leaving a stain, you better have some OxyClean with you. That was the whole conversation today. And it all kind of encompassed too the intentions of the people you meet and who you are when you meet people. Are you a connector or are you a collector? And yes, you can, who you are or what your intentions are differentiates, depending on the circumstances, but who you are at your core, I feel like stays the same. Sometimes it's, getting a job, you're collecting, as you're a collector. It's like, well, I need this job because this is important for me because of A, B, and C. I have goals, I have needs, blah, 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 blah. So I'm going to collect. And then you meet people on another level and it's like, well, I want to connect with this person. I want to create and, find some common ground, find a happy medium, find some balance. And I think when you connect, you're seeing this person eye to eye, regardless of the circumstances, regardless of where you both come from. Your incentive to connect with them is a little bit deeper than the superficial level of just walking away with something. And again, that all applies to your house. That applies to your house and the kind of house that you keep. If there are certain people in your life that come and when they leave, you have a piece of something missing that's important to you, yeah, they're collectors. If you have certain people that come into your life and there seems to be a different kind of fulfillment or, a wholeness that they bring into your life. That's a connector, and again, although it may differ depending on the circumstances, at your core, you can tell one, who you are and who the people are that you're interacting with and who the people are that are in your house or in your house space. So moving forward, just ask yourself, what kind of house do I want? What kind of house do I currently keep? Am I a clean person? Do I clean up after myself? Am I constantly cleaning up after others? And the kind of messes that others are leaving, are they making it a point to hold themselves accountable, or are they running away the first chance they get, or are they stepping over their mess? And also look at the houses that you're invited into. What kind of space is this person keeping? What does that say about this person? What does that say about our potential connection? All of this matters. All of this is important. And I've been really making it a point to be more mindful of that. Whenever I have any kind of interaction, what kind of, connection, for the lack of a better word, what kind of connection is being established? Is this person a collector or a connector? Are they messy? Are they tidy? And if they do make a mess, do they clean up after themselves? 5 things. And, also too, what kind of person am I? What kind of person am I in my own space? What kind of person am I in someone else's space? Physical and internal, emotional, mental, all of that. What kind of space am I keeping? What kind of space am I taking up? Because the security deposit is real. We keep in security deposits around here, and it's like, look, you're not going to come in here and make a mess and, put holes in my walls and all this stuff and expect things to be all good. No, that's what the security deposit is for. And sometimes we got to hold people to that. It all depends, and it all comes down to what kind of person you are in terms of your house, what kind of foundation you like to keep, and who are you inviting into it. I hope you guys have an amazing week. I hope you guys have an amazing week. If you have or haven't and you like horror stories, I figured check out The Night Owl. I've been having some fun with that, and I've been having some great people to collaborate with. It's been a great time, and it's fun. It's a good time. Very talented people, and it's something that I enjoy. And pretty soon, I'm gonna have some voices on here. Very dope people, very talented people, very hardworking people, very sincere people, and I can't wait to share them with you guys. Because it's been people that I've been keeping in my back pocket for quite some time, and definitely have my mom back on here too, because I feel like our conversations are hidden gems, and it's just something that I enjoy sharing with the outside world, because she's spitting stuff that I need to hear, and I'm sure you guys would take a lot from it. She's seasoned, so she knows a lot about life, and just how she puts things out there is truly a blessing, and I'm grateful for her. So I get to share a piece of that with the world. Fortunately, I'm blessed for that, and I get to share a piece of my world with you guys through the people that I hold dear, and that to me is a big deal. So I wish you guys a very amazing week. Hit me up, like I said, email me, DM me on the Instagram. Let's chat. I love connecting with you guys. Also, if you have Twitter, follow me on Twitter, the Birdbrain Podcast, and let's stay connected. Let's stay elevated. Let's create that infinity. All right, take flight, guys.